questions to ask throughout a campaign with the confidence rising. I told WDF don't switch, good times are coming on even deep diving. Fan cams, reactions, watch along, still the pride of London thriving. The Eagles of South, they flying. Keep your eyes on us, we ain't hiding.
Yes, guys, welcome back to Eagle-Eyed Football. And this is TACT Eagle for the match that we're playing against Bournemouth. As always, I'm joined here with Mr. Statman Dan. How are you doing?
Yeah, all good. Well, I mean, we'll see it a bit later, but going into watching Bournemouth has actually made me very unconfident for Wednesday, to be honest. How you doing?
I completely agree. I've started doing some research earlier on today, and I came into this game thinking, my prediction was 3-1 Palace, but after doing all of this, I've changed it to 1-0 now. So I still got to stay kind of confident, but I'm not extremely confident. But
Yeah.
Seeing their recent games against Newcastle, against Villa last night, they're going to be strong. And I know I don't think we're really going to do a review of the West Ham game, but I'll give my thoughts here very quickly. That if Bournemouth play like how they have been playing, and if we get caught out in a mid-block, they are going to just absolutely run away from us. The amount of pace they've got up front is scary, and also players that they've signed like Alex Scott, who I think is injured again though, right?
Yeah, he's got a knee injury till I think the end of this month.
Yeah, I think like Alex Scott, Clivert, who's come in, and he's actually hit the ground running pretty well lately. They've got a lot of talent up front, so really the only way to pin them back is if we go forwards, and that's something that Roy's just not going to do. Let's go straight into the predicted 11s. Straight into the predicted 11. Here's what I've gone with for Crystal Palace. I've gone with Sam Johnstone in goal, with Mitchell, Gay, Anderson and Ward at the back. At the number 6 position, I have put Chris Richards in because I don't think he done anything special in the West Ham game. But bearing in mind that he literally had about 2 hours to psych himself up for playing in this game, because the midfield three, or according to Roy's press conference after the game, the midfield three was meant to be Lerma, Hughes and Schlupp. But Schlupp hurt himself or got injured on his way to the game. Proper
Classic.
Connor Wickham style.
Probably choked on a hamburger.
Probably. But it forced Roy to do something different. And I think if I looked at the game and I said, if Richards had a whole week or 2 weeks to get ready to play in that midfield position, I would have thought it was time wasted. However, knowing that he literally went in there playing in an unfamiliar position without any practice whatsoever, I think that with a few days of practice, having a whole game under his belt, I think that I'd start him there. Because if you think about it, for him, if he starts really playing well here, obviously I would want us to still buy a Decore replacement, but he could definitely do a job until Decore is back if he does well. I don't see why not. But yeah, I've gone with Richards as a 6. I've gone with slightly different midfield. I've gone with Lerma and Hamada as 8s, because Lerma played as an 8 on the left side for Bournemouth, and Hamada plays as an 8 on the right side for Stuttgart. So why not? Ayew on the left, Elisa on the right, and our top goal scorer up front. Fun fact for you, Dan, Eduardo scored 43% of all our goals this season.
Yeah, I saw that, which, considering people are, I think, unfairly ripping into him, I think that just goes to show how uncreative and how unthreatening we are. Right? Because I'm guessing
to him,
Yeah.
The chance was given to him, and guess what? He put it away.
Well, this is it. I think he's an. I've said it from day one. I think he's an excellent finisher. I just don't think we played to his strengths. I think if he played in a team that actually played to his strengths, I think he probably gets anywhere between 10 and 15 goals every season.
I agree. I think that in my opinion, I think he's probably more of a 2 up front kind of player. Because whenever he's played up front with Mateta, obviously Mateta's dreadful. But when they've done it, he's looked so much better. He's got someone to work off, someone to ping the ball back and forth with. I really like it when Ayew goes up front with him and those two play together. That, to me, that looks like a very good combination. But unfortunately, we don't play that playing style. But, if we make more chances, then why not?
Mm-hmm.
For Bournemouth, obviously, they've got a few injuries. This is how unprepared I am today. Let's go through their injuries. Bournemouth's injuries consist of Tyler Adams, who they bought from Leeds, who's out until mid-February. Max Aarons is injured until late January. Alex Scott until the new year. Lloyd Kelly until the new year. Ryan Fredericks, no return date. Emiliano Hansen, no return date. And Darren Randolph, who is got no return date. So really, they've got a lot. They've got what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 players that would potentially be starting for them are injured in Adams, Aarons, Scott, Kelly, and Fredericks. That's a lot of injuries, but because they've been investing, their team doesn't actually look that much weaker.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, in their team, I've gone with Neto in goal, Kirkes, Senesi, Zabani, Smith in the midfield. I've gone with Cook, Christie, and Cliver in the 10, with Tavernier on the right, Solanke up top, and Semenyo on the left. This is how they've reportedly been lined up with on all the online, everyone online basically. However, it's very similar to how we were under Vieira. It's sort of like a 6-8-10. So Cook used to be a centre back, so they're playing him as a 6, Christie as an 8, and then Cliver as a 10. So it's a bit of a very progressive midfield. Do you agree with both of those lineups, mate?
Yeah, that's you know what, that is exactly what I went for. Yeah, same with Palace. I wanted Ahamada to be in that 8 just to give us a bit of progression. And yeah, I did the same with Bournemouth as well.
Yeah, because Hughes looked really bad against West Ham. So I think that in my opinion, I don't think he deserves to get another start until the foreseeable future. Especially being an experienced player, he should be doing better than that. Let's go into the defense. I think we normally start with the defense, don't we? So Dan, take it away after the transition. So don't start speaking before the transition.
So, what can we say about Bournemouth? Well, some of you may look at Bournemouth and see that they've conceded the first amount of XG of any team in the league, and they've conceded the third most goals after Burnley and Sheffield United. But there comes a caveat, because what kind of scared me a little bit, and scared me even more when I actually looked into it a little bit more, in their last 3 games, they've conceded less than 1 XG per game. And it's not like they've played easy teams either. 2 of those games, as JC said earlier, one was Newcastle and one was Aston Villa. In fact, against Newcastle, they actually only conceded 0.5 XG. So against Newcastle, for a comparison, how much did we concede at their place? We conceded 2.4. So you can see they're not. I don't know if it's because Iraola's tactics are maybe a bit left field, and it just took a while for them to adjust, perhaps. because at Vallecano, he also had quite a rigid, not rigid, but like they're a defensively good team. So that was one thing that did surprise me when he came over in the season so far. But I'll just show you on the tactics board exactly what I mean. There we go. So yes. So generally speaking, how do I put this? So I've got it in my folders. I've got it as a middle, sort of like a top, middle, and back. So, for example, when we've got the ball, and I'll show you with some examples in a minute. I won't spend too long on the board, but when we've got the ball there, let's say the goal kick, do the thing that pretty much every team does and split the fullbacks, blah blah blah, and then all of these are pushed up. They are a good pressing side, at least from what I've seen against Newcastle. They are a good pressing side. So Semenyo will push up, Tavernier will push up, Christie will push up, Cook will push up. The only thing that I would say is noteworthy is that there is normally quite a large gap between these players here and their back four, which are normally quite narrow. So that's normally what they do. And there's a reason for this narrowness that you'll see in a minute. But they are a good pressing side. And what they'll do is they won't, like, for example, say Johnson's got the ball here and I don't know, Anderson's here. They're not the one to go straight in. They're not going to go straight in. They're going to perhaps wait for, let's say, I don't know, Anderson to pass the ball to Ward, let's say. And then as soon as Ward takes a touch, then they'll press them and they'll do it. And so like Solanke might come over here. Kluivert will come and press, say, Lerma. Cook will press Elise and so on. They are a good pressing side. So that's generally what they'll do up there. And to us, that's not just limited to goal kicks. It could be maybe more up here. So let's say Gay and Anderson have got the ball here. They'll do the same thing. But what they'll also do as well is that they will also try to they'll try and push us to the side. So what they'll do is, so for example, Solanke is the one that normally does this. Solanke will kind of stand here normally. So if we come inside a bit more to try and pack this midfield, they'll try and force us wide. So if it's on this side, Solanke being there means that Anderson can't go that way, can't go this way. I mean, yeah, he could pass into Richards, but then he's got Kluivert on him. And as well, I mean, I did think we just did play well the other day, but let's be honest, if he's getting pressed really rapidly, I'm not that confident that he's going to be able to make a pass other than just passing it back to Gay or Anderson, to be honest. So he got the choice, is just to pass it out wide. And it would be the same if it was the other side as well. So again, if Mark Gay's got the ball, Solanke's going to stand there. So then the only pass that's really on is Tyrone Mitchell, unless like someone drops or something like that. In which case, they will follow this run. Like if that does that, they will do that. They're not just going to sit in a line here. They will come out a little bit.
Yeah, that comes into the attacking part as well.
Yeah.
They press very high, but what they do is they don't really try and press the ball. They try and cut the passing lanes.
Yeah, no, that's exactly it. And that's something that certainly I noticed as well. And they definitely try. And again, this will come into JC's sort of attack part, I imagine. But they like to try and win the ball in the middle third. That's like where they kind of thrive. So, and it kind of comes in two ways. So if it goes to the side, for example, let's say Ward's got it here. They will be all over them like this. Like there'll be like 3 or 4 players over them like straight away. And then they'll leave like a person over just to cover for any potential switch, which I'm not being funny. I don't think Ward would be able to switch that, if I'm to be honest. So that's something to note. So if say Lerma comes in to help, you're still 3v3, and that's still defensively, that's still a good defensive position. And they'll just come in and then they'll just try and win the ball, and they'll use the line as a way to as a way to do that. And if let's say it's more in the middle, so let's say it's more in the middle. If we do say, I don't know, get the ball to Chris Richards here or something, again, they like to try and win it in this area. I presume they do it because they like to try and counter-attack from it, I'm guessing. I haven't looked into the attack, so I don't know. But I would presume that's why they're doing it. But they like to do it in this area. And that's demonstrated by them having, let me just double check, but they have the most tackles of any team in the middle third of the pitch. So, wow. Yeah, so like I said, you can see that they do like that area of the pitch. And they also rank as well in the top 6. So they rank 6th for ball recoveries as well. And again, I don't have the actual like locational data, but I would imagine they're in that area too. So what happens when they get into a low block? So say you bypass that and you do get into a low block. What happens then? Well, what I've noticed is that a bit like Unai Emery's Aston Villa. They actually like to drop, like Semenyo will drop, so it kind of becomes like a back 6, and like Tavernier will drop, and sometimes it's even the other way around because they are quite fluid. Like sometimes it'll be more like a back 6. And I think they're very happy to let teams kind of have the ball in this kind of area when they're in this scenario. And it's good for them as well, because let's say Michael Elise's peeled off, gets the ball here. Okay, let's say Ward backs him, he gets a nosebleed and he decides to back him. And let's say Jefferson Lerman's decided to come over. Yeah, and naturally, obviously, you want to keep the players like that on the other side just to keep the ball. Or let's say it's Ahamada, because that would be his side. They're very good at making sure they don't get overloaded here. So let's say Elise pass it to Joel Ward, their left back will then come and do that. And even if like Elise tries to make that run, Semenyo will follow. So they are very good at that. And I think that's one of the reasons why they did so well against Newcastle, because Newcastle thrive on that kind of thing, and they nullified them basically in that sense. That's pretty much like, they don't do anything particularly crazy other than that. I mean, if you switch to play, they'll just do the same thing. So like these 3 will come over and try to make sure there's nothing more than a 1v1. I think if you are quick about it, I think you probably can get an overload on either side. But like I said, you'll need to be quick. And I was talking to JC before the stream about this. Is like, I can suggest things to do, but the difference between what I think would work and what actually happens are 2 totally different things, / the players we have to do that. So that's like a brief overview of how they do it. The only other thing I think is worth noting is that they like to win the ball very quickly after they lose it. So again, I don't know their exact attacking tactics, so I'm not going to. Obviously, I won't talk about that because JC's doing it. But at least at Rayo Vallecano, because of the way they play, they tend to have quite. So let's say they lose the ball here. Say Ty Mitchell wins the ball. Because of the way they play, they have a lot of players around them already anyway. So, for example, if Ty Mitchell wins the ball there, they have 4 players already there to try and close him down and try and, if not, to try and either win it there or to force Mitchell to just kick it long or something like that. And that's basically it. So that's just like a brief overview of it. I'm just going to spend just a little bit of time just showing you some good defending, and then I'll show you just some bad defending from them.
I think as you get that up, they are, I think, 3rd in the league. I can't remember what stat it was that you said it was, but I think they're 3rd in the league for a tackle or an interception and then a pass and then a shot. I think they're like just behind Everton in that case as well.
That's a good point actually. Yeah. So in terms of, you're right. So in terms of shots, in terms of shot creating actions, they rank joint 3rd, only behind Everton and Tottenham, which is 2 teams we would absolutely expect that. Mm-hmm. And in terms of like that turning into goals, they actually rank top in terms of goals from defensive shot creating actions. So yeah, that's a really good point actually. So yeah, I'll just show you some of these. I'm not going to spend too long because yeah, I don't really want to spend too long on telling everyone how we're not going to win. So here's maybe something that we could do. So 1v1 at the wing. So sorry, not that we could do, but this is just an example. So as you can see here, one player there. Apologies, where's my thing gone? So yeah, so you can see we got 1v1s there all over the shop. One well, yeah, you can see that quite easily. And then when they move, there is like a lot of space here, which we'll look at a bit in a minute, but that's generally what happens. And again, you can see kind of like the beginning of this back six. Another thing I talked about. So this is just what I said about the counter press. So I believe Joel Linton won the ball there, and again, like I said, you've already got two players around them trying to win that. In terms of the let's go for the high press first. So these are so like I said, what I noticed is quite interesting. Well, when they are in this position, they tend to have three players in a line like this, which is quite interesting. I guess it stops that ball through there. It stops that ball there because this player can come here, and if he does ping it over here, this player can kind of recover for it as well. So I think that's why they do it. But that was just something interesting that I saw that I've never really seen before. And this is, like I said, this is the press trigger. So I can't remember if they're receiving the ball, but when they're in the point of passing it or receiving it, they're going to make that run. Yeah, I won't go into the others because, to be fair, they're things that I've already said. They're not, and they're to be honest, it's just repeating myself. So let's go to some bad defending. So the only two examples really I found of bad defending that I thought we could do, for God's sakes, because like I said, there's things we could do, but then they're things that I don't think that Roy would ask the team to do, if I'm to be honest with you. So the one thing we could manipulate the wing. So like I said, you have that player there. So they're happy to go 1v1 here, but they leave this player here free. So I can't remember who it is. I think it's Decore. Receives the ball. Was that Decore? No, it's Onana. Sorry, apologies. That's Onana. Receives the ball. And then this is Decore. So Decore just comes here, receives the ball, and all he does is turn. But as you can see, these two players are free.
Oh, they follow the ball.
Yeah, they do follow the ball, and then you got two players there. A better pass sees that, and then you whip the ball in. It does eventually. It doesn't quite happen like that, but the ball does eventually come in, and Calvert-Lewin does head the ball against the crossbar. So there's something maybe that we could do just to manipulate the wings a little bit, because that was something as well that I noticed. They're really not good at defending crosses and headers. In fact, I think they've conceded the joint third most corners this season. So that would be something that I would look to do: manipulate the wings, put as many balls in as possible. I know I said like they're good at tracking like the switches and stuff like that, but if you are quick, get the ball out, one touch, cross it in, then I think we can put them in trouble. So this was 1-2s on the edge of the box. So this is the first image. They Everton have the ball here. Pass it to Decore. Decore then manages to find a bit inside. So, like I said, they like to defend deep, which does normally leave players in this position free, which is really annoying because Evans is injured. And he checks in, passes it to Garner. Now, as you can see here, I don't know if you can see it's developing already, but you've got three players there, all of whom are watching a man. These lot aren't really doing anything. He's not doing anything. I think that's kind of who that is. But
there's Christie.
Oh yeah, Christie, and then Onana is just kind of here by himself. So he gets the ball. Obviously, that player comes to face. Fair enough. He then passes it to Onana. Then obviously that player comes to Onana, but that leaves Garner then free. They do a little 1-2 to Garner there. Garner brings it back, so it ends up here. And then in this position, no, that's not what happened. Sorry, that's not what happened. Sorry, he passed it to Garner. Garner passed it to McNeil. Sorry, McNeil receives the ball, but that could quite easily have been a 1-2 with Onana. And even in this position, that's a dangerous position. One pass there, shot a goal. One pass there, cross, which is what he decides to do. Mikalenko crosses it in. Onana ends up getting on the ball, swivels, and is only just wide like that. So that is something that I noticed. So in terms of what can we do then, I think would be possible. I would say just try to put as many balls into the box as possible. They seem really bad at dealing with those. And try to win corners, try to win free kicks. That's what I would say. I know it's really hoofball and probably quite anti what I would really want. But to be honest with you, when they're in that back six, they are quite difficult to break down if you're not quick at passing, which we're not. So I would recommend just getting the ball in. They concede so many chances, like against Brentford. I think they conceded loads of chances against Brentford, just from crosses and set pieces. Same against Everton as well. And in both of those games, they conceded nearly 3 expected goals. So that's what I would recommend.
Cool. All right, let's get on to the attack. Let's get this over and done with. So what I'm going to do before I actually start talking about how they attack, I'll just list off a few of their key features of their team, let's say. So number one is that on both sides, their fullbacks love a good overlap. And they're not afraid to do it either. And people like Tavernier, Semenyo, who are both very strong and fast dribblers of the ball, they really thrive off this. So, for example, if Semenyo gets the ball here, let me get a ball quick. If Semenyo gets the ball here and he looks up and these passing lanes are blocked and a Ward comes over, just the run of the fullback will force Ward to have to run with him. So then that 3-on-1 then becomes a 2-on-1. And to be honest, he is good enough to find his way through 2 people. He's done it before. He's done it a few times in the Villa game. I'll probably show you that in the when I start talking about the images. As Dan said, they do like to not zonally mark. They do love to cut passing lanes, and the speed in their transition is so similar to Aston Villa. It's untrue. Like the fact that let's put an example here. So let's say a Hamada's here, and they will genuinely stand in sort of these kind of positions to try and stop the passing lanes. So the fullbacks will be very aggressive in where they're standing. So if, for example, this probably leads into how we can beat them. As Dan said, if we can be quick and hit it over the top of him, Elise can just run onto it because he'll be standing in no man's land. However, if this ball isn't hit hard enough, Kirkes will be there before Elise, and then look, all this free space that he can run into, really. Obviously, as I said before, they've got really strong dribblers. So Semenyo, good on the ball. Cliver, good on the ball. Tavernier, incredible on the ball. Even Christie, when he was at Celtic, he played as a 10, but he's sort of playing in an 8 position. So we know he's got it in him to run forwards. Also, they've got some pretty underrated passers as well. I think Senesi is probably not far. I don't think he's very far behind Anderson when it comes to long passes completed, because he's one of those guys that can pick up the ball and just ping it out to Tavernier one time very, very quickly, very easily. So we're going to have to watch out for the crossfields. Christie, he's got very similar passing to someone like Eze, where he can run with the ball and slot a pass in behind. So we could see a time where he'll run forwards with the ball, Solanke would make that run, and he would meet him perfectly over here, run inside, Solanke back, and then a goal potentially. A pretty underrated passer in their team is Tavernier, but I'd say it's more crossing with him. I don't know if it's statistically backed up, but whenever I've watched Bournemouth and whenever he puts a cross in the box, Solanke is always on the other end of it. So I'm not sure whether I can big up Solanke for that or big up Tavernier or just big up both of them. But whenever I've seen Tavernier cross the ball, it always ends up at the man every single time. Solanke is just a dangerous finisher these days, isn't he? When he went there for 30 million, we was all thinking, what on earth have they done? And he was crap in their first season, wasn't he? He was rubbish. He scored 3 goals, I think.
Yeah,
And then he had a whole year in the Championship. I think he had 2 years in the Prem and then a year in the Championship where he really started to kick on. When he got given faith, got given game time, and now look, matured, proven goal scorer, and to be fair, he's looking like one of the better strikers in the bottom half of the table right now. Really.
Absolutely.
So, that is just the amount of assets that they have when going forwards. But what do they really thrive on? They thrive on teams being in a mid block. And luckily for us, we don't play a mid block, so this is good to some extent, let's say. We like to play a low block. But they like to play a mid block for one reason and one reason only. Incredible pace. Seriously, incredible pace. The pace on... Oh, let me put Cliver about here. The pace of these 4 players alone is actually disturbing because this is how they tore apart Villa. It was constant. Christie on the ball, picks up the ball out wide. He runs, he sits in the hole and he runs, and it's just a whip, cross, goal. I think they scored both of their goals like that, if I'm mistaken. Just the fact that they can get in behind very quickly, very efficiently, and they've got quality to do it as well. But leading into how we can adapt to this, if we are sitting in a low block and we're very tight and very compact, they don't have space to run in behind, do they? So this is taken their main asset out of the game completely. Granted, we don't really want to be sitting in a low block for very long, really, because the closer they are to the goal, the more shots they're going to have, and that's another thing with them. They do like to have a shot from literally anywhere. I think Semenyo is one of them. I think he actually shot from a position like this against Villa, against Martinez, and it nearly went in. Like, he put some serious power behind it. But, also, I know I'm talking about Semenyo a lot, but I'm really scared of him because he turned us down to go there instead, didn't he? So he's definitely going to score against us.
Yeah, the old curse.
And, like, for example, all 3 of them are very mobile strikers. They're very quick on their feet. They like to work with each other. And that is the next point I'm going to talk about. The link up between these 2 players, Cliver and Solanke. I wouldn't say it's like a little man, big man duo, but you see it quite often with how they play and how they build up the ball. So, for example, Solanke will pick a centre-back, for example. So let's say he picks Gay, because I think he's probably a bit taller than Gay. So what will happen is Bournemouth will build up the ball. He'll be pressing the back line, but he'll back into him and basically lock. So wherever Gay goes, he'll go. Wherever he goes, Gay goes, basically. And what happens is, if they're building up the ball, we're pressing, they're finding their way out, and then the ball goes to someone like Christie, for example. That'll be... So as Dan said, they've got defensive triggers, but they've also got offensive triggers as well. And this is one of them. So, for example, Christie will have the ball. Solanke will go short. Make himself available. And obviously, any good centre-back, you don't let your man go. So Gay will follow him. But the unpredictable thing is Kluivert will replace him, run him behind. If Richards ain't switched on here, this is how they will score. Because this exact move happened, and Ezri Konsa probably pulled off the tackle of the season to stop Kluivert from scoring against them. I'll show you that now. Actually, I think that's pretty much all their stats really. It's nothing much than that really. They've got good passes. They pass the ball long. They get in behind, and they're very clinical up front really. Let's go over here to good old trusty Photoshop. So basically, remember this is the beta version, so I've got AI. This is going to be very simple. Basically, everything I've talked through is basically just going to show in the Villa game. So here, left back passes it to Semenyo. Semenyo picks up the ball. You can see he's on his bike. He's on his way out here. Semenyo picks up the ball and starts driving inside. See, the fullback's gone. He's attempted a tackle, seen that it's not worked, and then gone to cover here. And then he's on with instead of a 3-on-1, it's now a 2-on-1, which makes it easier for him. So he's still covering there. Konsa in no man's land. And this is probably where one of Semenyo's weaknesses is. His pass here is atrocious. He tries to pass it here to Kluivert, but it doesn't go there. he passes it straight to Douglas Luiz.
Oh, God.
Yeah, straight here. Kluivert's fuming. Look at him. He's not happy whatsoever. And then Villa do what they do best. Pops it back here. And then, pops it back here. And then he tries to pop it over here to McGinn. But remember what we said? They cut the passing lanes. Christie picks up the ball here, intercepts the pass. Semenyo, great move here. Sells the defender. Defender's ball watching big time. Look, that's his vision right now. He's not looking anywhere else. Semenyo rolls backwards, slips in here. Nice, easy pass. Loads of space. Easy finish. Goal. That's 1-0 Bournemouth. And bear in mind, in that whole build-up, Semenyo actually messed up the pass, but they still ended up scoring here.
Yeah.
So it just shows that when they go forwards, they like to keep people up forwards. So if we can hit them on the counter-attack, then most of their players are going to be up. And if they're up, they don't actually track back very quickly. Obviously, the centre-backs and the defensive midfielder track back. But as Dan said, there's a very big gap between the defence and everyone else when they're going backwards. So if we can hit them quickly, that would be probably the best case scenario for us. Here again, Christie, again, with a lovely switch over here to Semenyo. 1-on-1, he's taking him on. He gets to here and he shoots. And bear in mind, this nearly went in. This very nearly went in. If Martinez didn't get his hand on it, that would have went crack right there. Great shot. Here again. This is Christie. This is Kluivert. Down here is Semenyo. Remember what I said?
Yeah.
Solanke, he will drop short. Give him an option. I think what happened here was the ball started here. Solanke came back. He then lifted it over the top. And now look. 2-on-2 situation here. Pace, and then he's going to pass the ball, and then he's going to run him behind this way. Kluivert gets here, and my God, what a tackle this is. If you guys haven't seen it, I'd highly suggest watching it. It's a great tackle, but the fact that even in here, and these guys are so far behind, it's still technically a 3-on-3. So if, for example, if the bounce here is unlucky, he can get there. He's still on his way to the box. Here again, this is the left back. This is Semenyo here. They've overlapped. He's taken the man with him. Three outside the box, three outside the box, three outside the box, three outside the box. That's 4 players outside the box with a left back and a striker. So they've got 6 players up right now. So there's only 4 people, and they're all defenders, which are outside of this image. Great ball. Fine Solanke. I'm going to pause myself because Rich has said this on a fan cam about Mateta. Solanke gets the ball here, swivels on it, pause, I'd have to do it again, and beats Martinez on the near post because he's put some serious power into it.
Fair play.
All I can say is I don't think there's much hope for us.
Yeah, I was the same. Like, I'm not going to lie. Without going into the score prediction too quickly, put it this way: before the game, I thought we should win. Now, I'd be happy with a draw, but I really would not be surprised if we lose. I mean, I'm going to go for a draw, but it wouldn't surprise me if we lose.
Yeah, 100%. I think that the ways to counteract this is they struggle against a low block, but we always do a low block, so I feel like that's how we're going to thrive against them. But the thing that I think we're going to struggle about is that we need to hit them on the break. We need to hit them fast. Keep the ball out wide, hit them fast so that their wingers can't get back and defend as well. And make sure that if you're running in behind, pull the ball back outside the box to meet that half space. Or it's not really a half space, it's just a massive space in between the defenders and the midfielders. But this is where we've got to be brave and actually start shooting from outside the box, because that's just one thing we struggle with. We just never shoot outside the box. I don't know why. I know we don't have the players to shoot from outside the box, but just shoot. Why not? If it goes over the bar, oh well, it's a goal kick. We recycle it, do it again.
Well, that's it. And like looking at their defense, because they like to play that back 6, it means that there is space in front of them.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? Like that. There is, and it's just a frustrating thing for me is that there are a lot of ways in terms of like the defending. There are a lot of ways to counter it, and there are a lot of ways to like try and manipulate and stuff. But I'm just stuck at the point where it's like Roy definitely wouldn't do that. We don't have the players that would do that.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? Like
it's one of them things where you're looking into it and you're thinking, this is how we can work, we can win this. But you know it's not going to happen. We're just going to do what we always do and just tough it out and hope that Roy's right or that the players bail him out yet again.
Well, yeah, this is it. And
I feel like the reason why there's so much eyes on Roy now is because that Roy doesn't have that Wilfred Zaha to bail him out of every single problem he's ever had.
Well, yeah, this is it, especially with Elise being injured for so long, and then now Ebbs again being injured. So
100%.
And
let's go into a score prediction. I think that I threw you under the bus last week, so I'll go first. I really want to say my head is telling me we're going to lose 1-0 in this game. That's what my head's telling me. We're going to lose 1-0 at Selhurst Park, and there's going to be an absolute meltdown. However, my heart is telling me that I can't predict a Palace loss unless it's against someone big. So I'm going to go 1-0, but please bear in mind that my head is telling me with all the logic that we're going to lose 1-0. Dan?
1-1. I think, before I went into this, I was like, okay, 2-1 Palace. Then I watched it all and I was like,
oh yeah,
1-1.
Well, yeah, like I said to Dan before we actually started this, my original prediction in the prediction league was 3-1. I changed it to 1-0 now because I'm just not confident whatsoever.
Yeah, and the thing is, people can say, "Oh yeah, but it's Bournemouth, blah blah blah. They're in a relegation battle." Well, they're only 3 points above us. I mean, they won't go above unless they beat us like 9-0. They're not. Well, if they beat us 4-0, they actually would go above us. But that's what I mean. Like they're not the relegation team, I don't think, that we perhaps thought they were. They've got 13 points. Like I said, if they beat us, they'll move level on points with us. If they win again, they could potentially go top half. So
yeah,
they're not a terrible team.
Yeah, I would say that Bournemouth are sort of in a similar situation to Chelsea, but in a much lower caliber way. In the way of that they've bought so many players in the last 2 years that their managers just trying to figure out what their best 11 is.
Yeah.
And that now that Pochettino's figured out his best 11, Chelsea are looking like a really good team now. And probably now that Bournemouth's manager's found his best 11 and his best tactics, they've started to put in a few good performances and just not really gotten the luck. Because really, they should have seen out that game for a win against Villa.
Yeah, absolutely. And statistically, to get to create more than 2 goals, 2 expected goals, and concede less than 1, 0.5 against Newcastle and Aston Villa, like that is a really impressive. I mean, both those games were at home, but still, that is a really impressive feat.
100%. Is there anything else that we want to touch on, Dan?
No.
All right.
Oh yeah, actually, Parish, can I have my refund money back on my season ticket, please? That'd be nice. If you could actually tell people how to do it, that'd be nice. Thank you.
Feels like there's some hate going on in here.
If I speak,
if you guys haven't seen the stream we've done on the state of our club, then you guys should go and watch it. And also we've got a vlog out for the West Ham away game, which is doing all right so far. So, guys, thank you very much for watching TACT Eagle today. Let's hope for a win, but you know, it's Palace. It is what it is. We'll see what happens. But as always, guys, thank you for watching. Like, share, subscribe. Click that little notification bell so you get a notification 30 minutes before every stream and every video. Just saying that because my phone is just pinged because we're doing the live preview for this game. But guys, thank you very much for watching. It's your boy JC, and man like Statman Dan. Up the Palace.
Eagles.
Eagles.